I think I'm ready this time. Don't tell anybody that I did a false start on this episode. So here we go. It is ironic that I made a non-episode of the Triangle Talk Show called Please Report This Error. And I made that for a technical problem that I had with episode 59. I had a problem playing back on YouTube on Android devices, maybe iOS, I don't know. And Roku, played back on the web. Strange. So I replaced that. That was called the mud season, but it had the error had nothing to do with being the mud season. Okay, so now I've got to make another episode to correct something that I got way wrong in the content of that episode. And I'm pretty unhappy about screwing that up. I am so unhappy about it that I almost don't feel like doing the show busy stuff for this episode. Almost. From the studio in the bonus room. Oh no, don't do that. And the heck? What the heck? Oh man, I'm totally snake bit in doing this. Can I show you what happened? Not sure. Now you can't quite see it. My phone sitting down here on the tablet that would make the camera switch, and it was sitting on it like that, and I laid my hand on the phone and it made that camera switch. And apparently I've done that twice now. Because I did a false start on this episode, and then I started over. I'm not going to start over again, except to say that part about where I almost don't feel like doing the show busy stuff, but only almost. Okay, from the studio in the bonus room above the garage on the north side of Cary at the foot of Mount Belzoni, this is the Triangle Talk Show. And this is episode 60, correction. Damn it. Gotta fix something. I hate this. It is Monday, May 20th, 2019. At least I got the title right. I'm Gary Pierce. Triangle Talk Show is a podcast and a YouTube video for the Triangle area of North Carolina. We cover anything we want to. We lean kind of to the left in our politics. You can tell by that little banner there. Keep abortion legal one on the title. It's not all politics. This episode definitely will be. Our website is triangletalkshow.com. Got a Facebook group, also named Triangle Talk Show. On Twitter, we are at Talk Triangle. And on YouTube, you can't find us on YouTube. Go to the website and click the YouTube button. The YouTube stuff is too hard to find. I am Gary Pierce, your another screw up. I'm not the travel expert on this episode, but that's what the title's going to say. All right, down to business. I'm making this episode to correct something that I got like way wrong in episode 59. That's the one that was titled Mud Season. I started that episode with a monologue about the new Alabama abortion law. And in that monologue, I said this. So one thing about that North Carolina Born Alive bill, the Republicans did go to great length to be sure that a woman who has an abortion can't be prosecuted for it. The bill is not aimed at them. The bill is aimed at the doctors. The Alabama bill that was passed and signed by their governor this week is different. It absolutely targets the mother with a mandatory 99-year sentence for murder for getting an abortion at any point. Not 20 weeks, not 6 weeks, not 6 minutes. Anytime. And if she goes out of state to have the abortion, well, sorry, it's still murder. Okay, stop. I sounded so sure of myself. I even pointed at the camera for emphasis. And I was wrong. The Alabama bill, like the North Carolina Born Alive bill that is still waiting for a veto override in the North Carolina House, it does have a specific exemption for the pregnant woman. It is targeted only at the doctor who performs the abortion. And, well, a couple of news stories that confirm that. This is from NPR. And it says, under the new law, doctors in the state face felony time up to 99 years if convicted, but a woman would not be held criminally liable for having an abortion. And here's another one from BuzzFeed. This one notes that I'm not the only person that got it wrong. This is an article about some of the misconceptions and misinformation that's going on out there. And it says, number 3, no, women in Alabama will not go to prison if they get an abortion. So how did I get that so wrong? Why was I so sure? Well, once I started seeing news stories that reported that the Alabama law did not hold the woman reliable for prosecution, well, first I said, uh-oh. And then I looked over my script and my notes, and I discovered to my dismay that I didn't have any links or any quotes, especially about that line about a woman traveling out of state being subject to prosecution when she got back. It is weirdly specific to have just imagined it, but I can't find any references to it. I Googled a lot. I did a lot of searching. I looked on Facebook to try to find where I might have gone astray. I watched some of the cable news shows that covered that breaking news that night that the law was announced before it was signed by the governor. And nothing. I couldn't find anything that gave me a clue to why I was so damn sure about what I was saying. I couldn't even find a rant on Facebook that made those claims, although Facebook is way too big and deep to do a very effective search. One thing I didn't do, for sure, I did not go to the ultimate source. I didn't go to the Alabama bill itself. And here that is. It does have a specific phrase saying that the woman herself is not criminally or civilly liable for the abortion. Section 5, no woman upon whom an abortion is performed or attempted to be performed shall be criminally or civilly liable. And further, no physician confirming the serious health risk to the child's mother shall be criminally or civilly liable for those actions. Okay, so that is actually from the bill itself. And had I done my homework and gone that far, I wouldn't have made that drastic screw up. It doesn't mention anything about going out of state. I mean, I can't show you something that it doesn't say at all. What it does do is it defines an unborn child as an unborn child or person as a human being, specifically including an unborn child in utero at any stage of development, regardless of viability. Now, that's an important thing to remember. Stick a pin in that. And then they've got their definition of abortion. It says, it's got a clause that says it shall be unlawful for any person to intentionally perform or attempt to perform an abortion, except as provided by the next subsection. And that's where you can draw the conclusion that the law bans abortion at any stage of pregnancy, with the only exception being the life or health of the mother. So it doesn't connect those two dots directly in their text. You have to pick it from a couple of different spots. Okay, so I screwed that up pretty bad, especially the part about going out of state. I can't have imagined that. I must have read it someplace, but I cannot find it now, and I didn't make a note. So what am I going to do about that in the future? Well, I'm tempted to be snark and just say nothing. I'm still going to screw up. I think I better be a little bit more responsible than that. What I want to do is take better notes. List my sources more completely. I don't remember what I was doing when I was typing the script up for that. And most of the time I'm not doing scripted shows. That one I did. This one wrote this up. And I think I wrote a lot of that script while I was sitting at lunch, typing on my laptop or my tablet. So, but I don't really remember specifically why I was being a little lazy in making a reference. You know, when I would read something like that, when I would read a statement like, if they go out of state and get an abortion and come back, you're going to be liable if we can prove it. I normally copy the link to whatever that was and stick it in my notes. I got nothing. Got nothing for that. So I will list the sources more completely, I think. Not rely on my memory, which is really bad. I was hoping that when I watched the episode again, you know, you watched it with me at the beginning here, just my face on camera, that I would be showing a website or a document or something that showed me where I got my information from. But no, it was just my big dumb face on the screen, just like now. It's out there somewhere. I didn't hallucinate it. Pretty sure. I already don't rely on unverified crap that I read on Facebook or Reddit or anywhere else on the web, but at the moment, I can't prove that. You know, the universe tried to save me from messing up. It tried. I mean, it messed up the YouTube feed, so I had to go back and do things again. I defied the universe by reposting that. It tried. Okay, so I screwed up. I said some things that were wrong. Does that change anything? Well, this little podcast isn't going to change anything no matter what. But, I mean, assuming that other people have made that same error and we have to dial back on the criminality of the woman, the mother, whether the abortion is done in-state or out-of-state, does that make a difference if we dial back on that? I suppose, you know, making a law that women are criminally responsible if they get an abortion is more draconian than a law that doesn't. But it seems clear that legislatures everywhere see that as a losing issue, even in Alabama. So the draconian stuff that's left in the law is that it is a total ban. Again, not 6 weeks, not 8 weeks, not 6 hours, not 6 minutes. There's lots of other states that have proposed bans that have that 6 or 8 week thing they call the heartbeat. I talked about that in the episode. I won't go through that again. So other states do the 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Alabama is 0 weeks and no exception for rape or incest. And that is draconian enough. And that makes it more draconian than a lot of the other bills. Okay, so one last thing here in my monologue about the Alabama law. I didn't mention my interview with Robin Marty. Robin is the author and journalist who wrote the Handbook for a Post-Roe America. And I talked to her back on episode 52. That is titled No Mo Roe. Oh no. Yeah, there's the episode. Robin says that she expects Roe to be overturned. She thinks it'll happen. And she thinks it's not all bad. She doesn't expect it to happen before the 2020 presidential election because overturning Roe will be a good issue for Republicans to run on in all the elections at all levels, local offices, through Congress, through the Senate races, all the way up to Trump's bid for a second term. She thinks that's too good an issue to get rid of now by overturning Roe. But then she expects afterwards that the Supreme Court will overturn Roe, whether Trump wins or loses. And she thinks it could be a good thing only because she sees Roe itself as being pretty weak. It's already been whittled down enough that some states have effectively almost banned abortions through restrictions that have resulted in having only one clinic for the entire state. Robin thinks that people who may be pro-choice, but who aren't really close to the issue, people who aren't really activist about it, they think that Roe is all we need. It's doing the job. She thinks that if Roe is overturned, those people will get engaged and fight for abortion laws that really do make abortion available to all women who want one. I don't know if she's right. Who can make a prediction like that? But there might be something to it. Before I got directly involved last year, I know that I was aware that Roe didn't make safe, legal abortions available every place. I read and I listened to or watched news stories about how clinics were closing in Texas and Louisiana. Was I paying more attention than you are? I don't know. All right. I didn't need to make this a long episode. We're not going to even come close to an hour. Just a few minutes. Does this tell me what? Oh, we're at 15 minutes. More than I thought. Only because I screwed up at the beginning. But that is it for this episode of the Triangle Talk Show. Episode number 60. It's politics. Correction. Damn it. And keep abortion legal. I'm not promising I'm never going to make another mistake. In fact, I will promise I will make many more. I'm just going to try to not make one as boneheaded as this one. Okay? Over and out.